Hello everyone, back again with Kingsman Studio. In this flick, today I'm going to recap one of the romantic and thriller flicks titled A Royal Surprise.
The movie starts with Riley working in her bookstore with her close friend, Sonia. Sonia congratulates her on the store doing so well, saying the chess corners for the kids had taken off. Riley thanks with a smile and asks Sonia if they've heard anything about the loan that they needed, but Sonia says she doesn't have any news about it yet. Riley wants to expand her business but cannot do it if she doesn't get this loan. Riley is fixing one of the messy chessboards when a tall, handsome man appears and greets her with a "Hey, you." Riley looks up to see Matt, her boyfriend, standing there. She kisses him happily and asks why he is there. He tells her he's planned a lunch for them. So, they go for lunch while bickering playfully about who knows how to play chess and who doesn't. At their picnic, Matt gets a call from his mother, and Riley gets a call simultaneously. Matt assures his mother that he is, indeed, coming to visit her, and bringing his friend, Riley Stevenson. On the other hand, Riley gets some bad news. She finds out her loan for the building she wanted to buy got denied. This meant she wouldn't be able to expand her business. Seeing the sad expression on her face, Matt asks her what's wrong, but Riley doesn't tell him and distracts him by focusing on the food. While Riley starts packing for her trip, Matt goes to his office to handle his affairs. He is trying to publish his second book and is talking on the phone with a potential publisher. They strike up a good deal, and Matt promises to stay in contact before hanging up. Matt's friend and assistant, Sid, comes and sits with him as they talk about publishing his book. Sid shows Matt the tickets booked for South Africa, and Matt thanks him. When they finish their lunch, Matt drops her off at the bookstore, and Riley reads to the kids at her store before going into her office. She starts to vent about how cluttered her office is and how messy everything looks. Sonia notices her odd behavior and asks her what she's upset about. Riley tells her they didn't get the loan, and Sonia also seems surprised and upset. Riley talks on the phone to Alex and tells him she's talking to another lender. She asks him whether someone's bought the building and he tells her no one did, but they might, soon. She hangs up the phone, and Sonia encourages her and tells her they will try again and again, until they succeed. Matt shows up then with the lunch bag Riley forgot in his car. Before leaving, he asks her if she would like to visit his family to celebrate his parents' anniversary in South Africa. Riley doesn't feel like she should, and she says she should stay here and that the kids who come here will be upset if she doesn't read them stories. Matt tells her she should go with him and assures her that Sonia can handle the bookstore for a week. He also shows her the tickets he has already bought, and Riley is surprised to see they are first class. Sonia also encourages her to go, and on both of their insistence, Riley agrees to go to South Africa. When Matt grabs his car keys from Riley's office, he finds the rejection letter for Riley's loan. He understands why Riley is so upset. Riley calls for him, he gets his car keys and then leaves. Riley spends the night packing for South Africa, with Sonia helping her along the way. Riley debates whether or not she should put on her fancy dress, but Sonia reminds her that she should keep it because Riley's mother always said, "It's better to have and not need, than to need and not have." Riley tells Sonia how much she has loved her since they were college roommates, and they both squeal together, excited that Riley is going to South Africa. Matt and Riley arrive at the airport in South Africa. They are greeted by Sid and Matt's sister, Nandi. Riley says she didn't know Sid was coming with them, but Sid thinks he wouldn't miss a good party even if it were 10,000 miles away. Riley tells Matt she thought this was a small celebration, and Matt and his sister exchange a look before he distracts her from the question. They all sit in the car and ride to a place for lunch. Nandi and Matt show her the traditional food and how they eat with their hands and share it. They dance to the music and have fun before they end up going back to Matt's house. When the car enters the big, luxurious gates of the house, Riley is surprised at how spacious and beautiful it is. She looks at Matt accusingly and asks him if he's rich. Matt tries to tell her something, but she stops him and tells him they will not talk about anything but that he is rich and didn't tell her. Matt can see his sister's accusing eyes on him, but he doesn't tell Riley anything again. Before they know it, they are at the door of the house, and the car doors are being opened for them. Matt meets with a man who looks like his butler but whom he greets like a brother. His name is Barney, and Matt introduces him to Riley. When Barney calls Riley ma'am, she tells him just to call her Riley. Barney practices saying her name once she's gone. Once they go inside, Riley still takes in the big mansion and how luxurious it looks. Nandi says she'll take Riley to her room because it's been a long day. Matt says goodnight to Riley, kisses her, and then Nandi takes Riley to her room. Riley is having difficulty sleeping, even in the luxurious bed she's been given. In the middle of the night, she also feels hungry and thirsty, so she gets up and goes downstairs into the kitchen to get a snack and drink something. As she's pouring water from the tap, she jumps in fright when she sees a woman standing there. Riley introduces herself, but the woman doesn't look pleased to meet her. Riley recognizes her as Matt's mother, judging by her age and resemblance to him. Matt's mother reminds Riley that there is water in her suite and that she doesn't need to come downstairs to get it. Riley says she forgot and says goodnight before returning to her room. Morning comes, and Riley wakes up from her luxurious sleep to a call from Sonia. She picks up and tells Sonia about Matt's house and how rich he is. Sonia also has some good news for her. She tells her that an angel investor bought the building Riley wanted to buy and gifted it to her. Riley is joyous and asks Sonia to find out who this person is, but she tells her angel investors are anonymous and that it'll be challenging to find out. Riley hangs up when there is a knock on the door. Matt comes in and wishes Riley a good morning, which she happily accepts with a kiss. Matt asks why she looks different and has that new spark in her eyes because Riley is glowing from the good news she just received. She doesn't tell him and says she is happy to be there with them. Matt tells her that breakfast will be served in half an hour. Riley tells him she'll get ready, and he leaves her with a kiss. Riley wears a beautiful green dress with black boots for breakfast and goes downstairs to find where the breakfast is. She walks into what looks like an office or a study, only to find an aged man sitting in a chair. She immediately recognizes him as Matt's father and greets him, excusing herself as she gets lost. He is a sweet man and tells her it's okay and that he is pleased to meet her. They talk a bit about planes and Riley's love for books before Matt finds her and greets his father, as they didn't get to meet the night before. Riley witnesses their love for each other happily as the father and son catch up quickly. Matt's father tells them to go to breakfast and that he will be there shortly. Riley and Matt end up meeting Matt's mother, and he formally introduces them. Matt's mother looks displeased as Riley happily hugs her. The servants and butler look baffled and embarrassed at the display, but no one says anything. Matt's mother complains that he didn't let them know he was bringing a friend. But Matt quickly defends himself and reminds her that he told her they were coming. They all sit for breakfast, where Riley also meets Nandy's young son, Lyanda. The child doesn't speak, but Riley doesn't mind. It's the person who shows up after him whom she does care about. A smart-looking African woman in official-looking clothes shows up and speaks to the entire family, addressing them as the royal family. Riley looks baffled until the woman greets Matt's father, King Chidek, and his mother as Queen Nobutu. The queen welcomes the girl, calling her by her name Ayanda and her daughter-in-law to be. Heartbroken at this revelation, Riley gets up and leaves, not knowing what to say or do. Matt gets up and goes after her, along with Nandy, only to be stopped by Ayanda as she hugs him, saying it's great to see him. Matt leaves her and goes after Riley, trying to stop her. She turns around and yells at him for lying to her about being a prince and already engaged. He tries to stop her as Nandy and Sid watch, but she doesn't stop and runs up to her room. She locks herself in the bathroom and calls Sonia, telling her about Matt's betrayal. Being the logical one in the situation, Sonia tells her to wait it out and ask Matt for an explanation. Meanwhile, Matt is discussing with his parents. His mother tells him Ayanda is the perfect match for him because she understands their customs and traditions and can serve their people better than anyone else. Matt tells her, with a tone of finality, that whatever was between him and Ayanda is over. He no longer loves her, but he loves Riley. King Chidek takes his son's side and tells his queen that they raised their children differently and that they should allow them to find their path. Matt's mother says they have already given their children too much freedom and leaves without another word. Matt's father comforts him by saying this is a difficult situation, and that he must handle it carefully. After discussing with his father, Matt goes to Riley's room to apologize and explain the situation. When he goes inside, he sees that Riley is in a fury and has already packed many of her things. Matt tries to calm her down and talks to her calmly and gently. He explains that he knew he should have told her all of this earlier, but he was afraid of what she would think of him. He said to her that Ayanda was his only ex and that he only dated her when he was a teenager. Listening to the logic behind his actions and his apologies, Riley forgives and hugs him, saying she could never think of him differently just because he was rich or made a mistake. The next day, Riley talks to Nandy about her son while watching Matt playing and reading to his nephew. She tells Riley that Lyanda hasn't spoken to anyone but her since his father passed away. Riley tells her she's sorry to hear that and that she can empathize because her parents passed away a few years ago, too. Nandy offers her condolences. Riley tells her that if there's anything she can do for Lyanda, she would do it. Nandy thanks her for the offer. They go downstairs, and Matt tells Riley he has a date planned for her. Riley is excited to go out with him, and they wander around the streets, looking at clothes and all of the shops in the bazaar. They sit at a coffee shop near the bookstore, and Riley sees an exciting book about airplanes that she buys. They drink their coffee and have fun together before they come home. After coming home, Riley decides to spend some time with Lyanda. She talks about how she also lost her father and that it hurts her, too. She doesn't know that King Chidek is standing behind them, just at the edge of the room, listening to their conversation. She points to his chest and asks Lyanda what it is. He says it's the heart, and she squeals excitedly when he talks. King Chidek smiles when he hears the child speak and decides to go inside. He tells Lyanda to get cleaned up for supper, and when the boy runs off, he looks toward Riley. She greets him with a "Your Highness," but he laughs it off and tells her not to be so formal with him. She shows him the book she bought for him, and he tells her he has been looking for this one. He thanks her for the book happily. He apologizes for the incident at breakfast, and Riley tells him it's not a problem. Mandala meets with his mother that day. She is meeting with Ayanda about the preparations for their wedding anniversary. When Matt comes, his mother sends Ayanda away. She doesn't leave before greeting Matt, however. Matt sits with his mother. She talks to him about Riley. In her opinion, she doesn't hold all the qualities that a good queen should have. Ayanda does, and she wants him to reconsider his decision and choose Ayanda to be his princess. Matt tells his mother that he doesn't love Ayanda. He is in love with Riley and cannot marry another woman, even if it is for the better of the kingdom. She is upset with him, and Matt also tells her this is hard for him. He tells her he doesn't want this to happen, so he wants her to understand that Riley is a good and strong woman, just like Ayanda. His mother tells Matt that his father is getting old and that it is time for him to step up and learn how to do what he does before he is gone. Later, his father finds him in front of his bookshelf and tells him he is waiting impatiently for his second book to be published. Matt tells him it's not an accessible business and will take time. He tells him he can't even use his royalty to get something like this done, not that he's tried. His father tells him he is proud that he doesn't want to use his majesty for benefits, and that he wants more than anything to blend in with the ordinary people. However, he tells him not to doubt himself because of his father and mother's doubts. They are only natural and to be expected. Matt thanked his father for the advice. Matt and Riley return from a run, and they high-five each other after they are done. Then, still breathing hard, Matt asks Riley if she could see herself living in this house. Riley says she would love to, but she can't just abandon her bookstore. It was her parents, and she couldn't leave it because it would feel like quitting them. Matt says he understands, but that he would happily leave everything he has, such as his wealth and his royalty, to be with her. That evening, Nandi and Riley sit on the balcony, watching the sunset. They talk about how Riley's parents passed away. Riley tells them they were celebrating their anniversary, and a few days later, they were in a car accident. Riley explains that she understands why they give so much importance to this anniversary celebration. You never know when it's going to be your last. Nandi comforts her, cheers her up, and tells her Lyanda wants her to read him a bedtime story, and Riley happily agrees. That night, Riley reads Lyanda a bedtime story. The queen passes by the room and stops when she hears the laughter and little squeals of joy from the room. She peeks in to see Riley reading Lyanda a bedtime story with so much enthusiasm that the child has begun to talk to her in a way she hasn't heard in a long time. Not being able to help herself, the queen starts to smile at the kindness of the girl she had tried so much to hate, and the laughter of her grandson. Then, after watching them for a few minutes, she goes away. Amid all the drama, Sid is playing the piano to Nandi. She tells him she can't believe how good he's gotten as he plays a beautiful tune on the piano. As she listens, Sid tells her he enjoys being there with them. When Nandi doesn't get the hint, he tells her he likes to be with her, remarkably, almost like a confession. Flustered at his confession, Nandi pretends not to understand and tells him they are all happy to have him there. As he plays and Nandi listens, Riley and Matt also stand in the background and listen to him play. Soon, they realize who is standing behind them, and Nandi and Sid jump in surprise, and he stops playing. Riley and Matt compliment him, and Nandi asks Matt if he's told Riley they waltz at these events. Riley is surprised, and they put on some music to dance. Nandi and Sid begin to waltz flawlessly while Matt teaches Riley how to do it. Riley struggles, but she starts to have fun just trying. Before they can dance any longer, Ayanda walks in. They stop the music, and Ayanda formally introduces herself to Riley, shaking her hand. Neither of them looks pleased to meet the other. But when Ayanda greets Matt, all of the unpleasantness fades away, and she begins to flirt with him, obviously trying to make Riley jealous, but Matt brushes her off, making it clear he does not like it. Ayanda tells them that they have to get ready for the family photo shoot, and they all go to their rooms to get ready. Ayanda looks at Riley and Matt with jealous eyes, but there is nothing she can do. Riley wears a beautiful green dress and leaves her hair open. Mandala comes up behind her and tells her she looks gorgeous. She thanks him, and they go to have the photo shoot. The royal family stands, and the photographer takes their pictures while Ayanda and Riley watch. Lyanda sees Riley and asks why she can't join them. To everyone's immense surprise, the queen herself asks Riley to join them. Ayanda quickly tries to stop them by saying it's a bad idea, but the queen says it's just for Lyanda's bedroom. This confirms Riley's future place in the royal family, and that the queen has accepted Riley as her son's partner. So they have the photo shoot, and they have some family time. They all sit together as a family and help Matt's father make a plane model. They put the pieces together, and everyone talks over each other. They are pleased to see Lyanda speaking to all of them. They make the plane successfully, and it is just like old times. Nandi and Riley play dress up, where Riley puts on different dresses and shows them to Nandi. Nandi rejects them all, except the last one Riley wears. The event begins, and Riley descends the stairs wearing a beautiful red dress that looks stunning. Matt is mesmerized by her, and when she comes down, he tells her how beautiful she looks. She thanks him, and they join everyone at the party. They meet Nandi and Sid, and then Matt introduces Riley to everyone there. He introduces her to his caretaker, who took care of him and his sister when they were younger, when his mother was too busy to take care of them properly. Soon after, the arrival of the king and queen is announced by Barney, and the king and queen appear. The crowd cheers for them, and King Chidike welcomes them and tells them all to have a wonderful time and celebrate. Riley gets a call from Sonia, and she excuses herself to take it. Sonia tells her she couldn't track down the angel investor, but she found a logo that Alex sent to her. Riley tells her to send her the logo. She hangs up and goes back to join the party but sees Matt standing with Ayanda, with her arms on his chest. She is making a last-ditch effort to get him to consider her his partner. She tries to kiss him, and just then, Matt sees Riley looking at them with a sad expression on her face. He runs towards her as she walks away from them, crying. Matt finally finds her, but she receives a message from Sonia that she opens. The symbol looks like a flower, and when she looks at the floor of the building where she stands, she recognizes the character immediately. She knows who the angel investor is. Matt stops her and yells at him that they are done and that she doesn't want to be with him. Matt tells her he's not there for an explanation. He's just there to apologize. He explains that Ayanda tried to kiss him, but he didn't let her. He tells her nothing happened between them. Riley sees reason and her anger simmers down, but she is still angry at him for buying the building. She tells him it was vital for her to do this by herself and asks why he interfered. Matt comes closer to her and tells her he saw the papers on her desk and understood she needed help. He just wanted to help her, and that's why he contacted Ayanda, so her brother, a property broker in Los Angeles, could help him. If he knew she would use that to get him back, he says he wouldn't have done it. He tells her he will never keep any secrets from her again. And with that, he apologizes. Riley accepts his apology, and they make their way to the dance floor, where the king and queen have started the waltz. Riley and Matt dance together. Matt tells her how much she means to him, and how lucky he is to have a woman like her in his life. He tells her he loves the man he is when he is with her, and he loves what she has brought to his family. He stops the dance, gets down on one knee, and with all the love and adoration of his heart, he asks Riley to marry him. Riley is shocked, and with tears in her eyes, she says yes. They kiss and the crowd cheers. Matt has chosen his one, true princess.